It's been 2 years since we've been able to buy a graphics card. Scalpers have started accepting people's firstborn as payment. Many gamers have third and fourth mortgages just to be able to game. Why am I sitting in the dark? Oh, who knows? I wish I could play something other than solitaire. Why do I always lose at this game? Maybe I don't deserve a graphics card. Maybe none of us deserve a graphics card. Who's gonna save us from this living hell? Okay, that intro may have been a tad bit melodramatic. In fact, this whole problem we're having really is a first world problem. I mean, I know, I don't like the fact that we can't buy GPUs either. However, with first world problems comes first world solutions, and that's what we're talking about today. We're going to talk about Geforce Now's RTX 3080 tier. This is a new tier from Geforce Now offering gaming rigs with 3080s in them. In fact, I'm currently playing a game on a Surface tablet with an RTX 3080. Now, that's kind of cool. If you haven't seen my previous videos on Geforce Now, it's an online streaming service kind of similar to Netflix, but with a twist. It allows you to play games that you've purchased from different platforms like Steam, Epic, and even Ubisoft, which they've just added, on pretty much any device that you want. I'm currently using it on a Surface tablet, and it actually works really good. I've had really good things to say about it in the past. If you watch my other videos, I haven't had many complaints on it. And it's a pretty valuable service that has a lot of features and new things that they're adding all the time. It supports all your cloud saves that you have currently in your different platforms. Like for instance, if you have a game that you play on your PC normally, and you want to be able to take it on the road with you on your tablet, well, you can still save your game saves using your cloud saves from Steam from within Geforce Now. And Geforce Now has over 1,000 games available, and they add new games every Thursday. Some of the games that I've been playing a lot lately are Wreckfest and Car Mechanic Simulator 2021. You also have games available like Shadow of the Tomb Raider and Cyberpunk. With over 1,000 games available, there's definitely something on Geforce Now that you can find to play. Geforce Now even includes some of the common free games like Fortnite, CSGO, Team Fortress, and World of Warships. As you're scrolling through the catalog of available games on Geforce Now, you might notice that there are some publishers missing. And that's because these publishers have decided not to include their games in the catalog on Geforce Now. Some of these publishers include Activision, Rockstar, and Microsoft, just to name a few. And there might be financial motivations for why they're keeping their games off of Geforce Now. Sir, we have a serious problem. People on the internet are complaining that they can't play our games on Geforce Now.
Haven't I told you to never bother me when I'm counting my money? What's wrong with you?
I'm really sorry, sir, but this is really serious. People are saying that they should have the right to play the games that they own on whatever system they want.
Nvidia has not offered us money to put our games on their platform. Do you think this money grows on trees?
Of course not, sir. But if Nvidia pays us, then they're going to have to pay all publishers, and gamers won't be able to afford the service anymore.
I fail to understand how this is my problem. Have these gamers been complaining to us, or are they just whining on the internet?
Well, no, it's actually only on YouTube and Twitter, I think, and the majority are actually blaming Nvidia for it.
Good! Let them blame Nvidia. Until they start blaming us, we have nothing to worry about. Now be gone with you so I can count my money.
Ultimately, Geforce Now is essentially a streaming service where you're renting a virtual machine that's configured specifically to play games. And personally, I think that you should be able to play whatever game you want on a virtual machine that you're renting. It's just a different computer. It's like using your Steam games from one system to another. And personally, I think that the best way to get these publishers to actually add their games to Geforce Now is to call and complain. If you don't complain, then they're just going to continue to not include their games. Geforce Now has 3 tiers available. They have the free tier, the priority tier, and the new RTX 3080 tier, which we're talking about today. All of these tiers essentially come with different benefits. The free tier, one of the best benefits is it's free. You can't beat free, right? However, you do have to deal with some limitations with the free tier. Some of those limitations are, it comes with a basic rig, so there's no RTX support. You have to wait in a queue, which sometimes can take a while to get through. And you only have 1 hour session links. After that hour's up, you're gonna have to wait in the queue again to get back in. So make sure you save your games often, because you'd hate to get kicked out if you haven't saved in a while. The free tier supports up to 720p resolution at 60 frames a second. And to be honest with you, I've had gaming systems that were limited to those specs, so you can't complain for free. The priority tier is $49.99 for 6 months, or you can pay $9 a month. The priority tier comes with a premium rig. This has RTX turned on, and it has priority access, so no more waiting in queues. You have a 6-hour session length to play your games, and the priority tier supports 1080p at up to 60 frames a second. Now, the tier we're looking at today is the RTX 3080 tier. This tier comes with an RTX 3080 rig. It has obviously RTX on. You have priority access just like within the priority tier, so you no more waiting in queues. But in this tier, you have an 8-hour session length to be able to play games. The RTX 3080 tier supports resolutions of up to 1440p at 120 frames a second. Now, the RTX 3080 tier is definitely going to hurt the bank a little bit, but it's not going to hurt the bank as much as an actual RTX 3080. It's going to cost you $100 for a 6-month membership. Now, one of the requirements to be able to use GeForce Now is definitely having good network speed. Your network speeds for the free tier need to be about 15 megabit. And the priority tier need to be about 25 megabit. However, for the RTX 3080 tier, you're gonna need an internet of at least 35 megabit to be able to play. I'm running it currently on a 200 meg internet connection, and let's just say it hasn't been perfect, but it's been pretty close to perfect. You need to have a ping of at least 80 milliseconds, but it's recommended to be at least 40 if you want to have low latency in games. And honestly, when it came to gameplay, I didn't notice much latency. The games played extremely smooth, and in a lot of cases, I completely forgot that I was playing this on a streaming service. However, it is highly recommended to use Ethernet, but I've extensively tested it on Wi-Fi on this little Surface tablet, and it's worked pretty good. It is highly recommended to have an internet service that doesn't have a data cap on it, because unfortunately, you are going to use some data playing video games over a streaming service. You can configure data usage from within the app. If you use the data saver setting, you're going to be using about 4 gigabytes an hour. But if you use a balance setting, you're going to use about 10 gigabytes an hour. And based on the settings that I used for the testing that I did, I was pulling about 13 gigs an hour. So it's a really good idea to have an unlimited data plan, because if you don't, you could find yourself running out of data pretty quick. GeForce Now is officially supported on several different platforms, including PC, Mac, Android, iPhone, as well as several smart TVs, including the Nvidia Shield TV. But if you don't have a supported device, don't worry. It's also supported from within your browser. So I actually played it quite a bit on Linux just to see how that worked out, and I got pretty mixed results. Unfortunately, from within the browser, even if you're using the RTX 3080 tier, you're gonna be limited to 1080p, but you're still gonna be able to get the good frame rates. I was still able to get frame rates of over 120 frames a second on the games that I played. However, I had this really weird problem in Linux where the KDE taskbar kept appearing over the top of the game. I'm not sure what that's all about, but maybe that's why it's an unsupported platform. So is the RTX 3080 tier worth it? I mean, it's $200 a year. That's a lot of money. And over a couple year period, you could just buy yourself a GPU. Well, you could buy yourself a GPU if there were any GPUs for sale. However, in 2 years, hopefully this will be over and we'll be able to buy GPUs again. If you think about it, if you're really into playing games, you can use this service on any device you want, like a simple Surface tablet. You don't need to have a gaming rig in order to take advantage of this service. So there actually is a lot of money to be saved in the long run if you don't want to put the money out for a nice gaming system, or if you just don't have the resources to do that right now. It's $100 every 6 months, but it lets you at least play the games that you've purchased, and it allows you to buy the new games as they come out. I know one of the downsides to having a lower end system is sometimes you can't take advantage of newer games. However, if you're going to be using a service like GeForce Now, you won't have that problem as long as the publisher allows the game to be published on GeForce Now. That's another reason why publishers really should step up and opt in for the service. Now, the 3080 tier definitely has some limitations. For instance, you're really not going to be able to take advantage of some of the features if you don't have the hardware in order to support the high refresh rates and things of that nature. I did use this service with monitors that only support 60 Hertz. It's definitely not as smooth as if you were to have a high refresh rate monitor, but you're still going to be generating those frames on the server side, and it should make the game smoother from your own perspective, even if you have a lower refresh rate monitor. I noticed extremely sharp picture quality, and in most cases, I forgot I was even using the service. I thought I was just playing the game natively. The games felt extremely responsive at well over 120 frames a second with the ones that I tested. And all in all, I would say that the service is definitely worth $100 every 6 months, but you're gonna have to make that decision for yourself on whether or not you think it's worth spending that much money for a streaming service like GeForce Now. But if this video was helpful to you, then please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell icon so you can be notified of future videos. I post a new video every week. Oh, and hey, before you go, check out a couple of these videos. Have a great day.